this was going on for 6 months. Well, I mean, here's a little bit more from The Guardian. Carol told The Guardian that Morrissey had poured cups of water into his bag since January. Carol says he first suspected Morrissey as she had been nasty to him for several months, despite the two knowing each other since childhood and even attending the same church. She would say demeaning things in front of other legislators, Carol said. But Carol had no evidence, so he decided to launch his own investigation. For weeks, Carol secretly recorded footage of his backpack to catch the person in the act. They've known each other their entire
childhood.
lives.
This grudge goes back real far.
I wonder how many.
They live in a town of 15,000. Everyone knows each other.
This would probably cause you to immediately go back and be like, wait, remember that time when I was like 15 and my backpack was soaking wet and all my school books got ruined?
This could go back. She'd been pouring water on this guy's shit his entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has like...
She's the real wet bandit.
He has like fuzzy memories of being like 5 years old and everyone being like, you peed yourself. And he's like, no, I didn't. I didn't pee myself.
Maybe I did. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I'm a child.
Yeah.
Continues. According to Carol, Morrissey initially said that she flicked water on the bag because she saw a bug on it. But she later added that she didn't know why she decided to dump water on Carol's bag for months on end. At the end of the meeting, I looked at her and said, you know, this has really fucked me up. There were weeks when I didn't know who was doing this or why, Carol said. I walked around this place paranoid of my fellow legislators, racking my brain trying to think, what could I have possibly said or done? Carol said that he was still weighing whether he should pursue charges against Morrissey for the harassment. As for whether he forgives Morrissey, Carol said, I guess I would have to say yes in the spirit of forgiveness, reluctantly. But if I had to be a smartass, I'd say her apology holds about as much water as my canvas bag.
So a lot of water?
I don't know. I mean, a canvas bag? Probably not. It just gets soggy.
Gets soggy. Yeah. You know, just like Winona Ryder in shoplifting, this lady pours water in people's bags for the love of the game.
It's fun to do hood rat things.
Yeah. She was getting away with something, and it was giving her this, like, this feeling that you just can't compare.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are drawn to doing bad things just because they can.
And it feels good.
For the thrill of just not getting caught.
If if you're the 67-year-old lawmaker from, was it Vermont you said?
Yeah.
Vermont, like, this is the most exciting thing that you do.
Oh, for years.
Is vandalize people's bags.
She's been in the Vermont legislature since the 90s, so it's got to be pretty fucking boring by now.
Imagine the fucking adrenaline rush the first time you did this and got away with it. You'd be chasing that high for the rest of your time in the legislature.
And it is kind of brilliant because, like, you know, a lot of people, when they're looking for that kind of thrill, they like cheat on their spouse. And when it gets revealed, it's very messy for everyone involved. This way, you get the same thrill, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, I mean, it's just water. Like, it's pretty weird. Not really nice, but like, it was just water. So he made his bag a little bit wet. I guess don't do that.
No.
Say you're sorry. I don't know. This is fucking weird.
But in other bizarre Republican behavior, we're not sure if what Michigan GOP candidate Anthony Hudson did was worse than regularly pouring water in a colleague's bag, or if it was weirder, but it was certainly bad and weird. Have a look at this.
I have another dream. Yes, it is me, Martin Luther King. I came back from the dead to say something. As I was saying, I have another dream. That Anthony Hudson will be Michigan's 8th District's next congressman. Yes, I have a dream again. Okay, now I am going back to where I came from. Goodbye.
My name is Anthony Hudson, and I approve this message.
You know, when they said that AI was going to be used in elections in general...
I was thinking more nefarious things, but this is
totally different direction than I originally thought. Wow. Wow.
Nothing in the rule book says you can't get endorsements from famous dead people.
Mr. President, a second dream has just
Martin had a second dream.
Yeah, not a lot of people talk about this second dream. Well, incredible. Wow. And yeah, that video went over about as well as you would expect. Here's Fox 2 Detroit with the follow-up. After backlash, the video was deleted, and Hudson claimed he didn't make it and didn't know it was posted. Hudson wrote on X that a volunteer gave a friend his social media credentials. That's always how it goes. And that friend was the one who posted the video. He said that he changed his login information and released the volunteer. I would have never approved such a stupid and disrespectful video, he wrote. Hudson later followed up with a post saying that he believed MLK would endorse him if he were alive.
I'm sorry.
But now that I've heard it, you know, I think MLK was onto something.
Yeah.
Quote, upon further review of the MLK video in question, I decided to not only keep my campaign staffer, but also give him a raise, as I believe MLK would be disgusted at the complete suffering of Flint, Michigan residents under the current administration's watch, Hudson wrote. If MLK were alive today, I do believe he would endorse me and my vision for a better Michigan. Damn, he like tripled down.
I disavow this video. This is in very poor taste, especially this close to Juneteenth. I mean, it's fucked up. I would never do that. But actually, you know, after watching it, I think that
pretty convincing.
I think MLK raises a lot of good points in that video. I think, you know, makes sense. He would, if MLK had survived that gunshot and he were here today, he'd probably be up here in Michigan campaigning with me, trying to get the word out that, you know, he had a dream all those years ago about, you know, ending racism and discrimination, and he had a second dream that I should be the congressman from the district in Michigan that represents Flint, Michigan. Those are his two dreams. I think I stand by that. Actually.
And to a lesser extent, also a dream about this guy, and he's very young. Very young.
I don't think he was even born back then.
But
like,
you'll see. You will see.
One day there will be a man.
Your kids are gonna love him.
Anyways, before we move on to the headlines half of this episode, we gotta let you know this episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. We all know there are plenty of things in life you have to compromise on, like buying groceries at the place nearby, even though they're always out of the good stuff. Or living in the perfect apartments for your budget, even though the neighbor practices drums 8 hours a day. But when it comes to your health, there's no room for compromise. So don't keep going back to that one doctor just because they're available right now and they take your sketchy insurance. Instead, check out ZocDoc, the place where you can find and book doctors who will make you feel comfortable, listen to you, and prioritize your health. And you can search by location, availability, and insurance. So literally no compromises here, because with ZocDoc, you've got more options than you know. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. Once you find the doc you want, you can book them immediately. No more waiting awkwardly on hold with a receptionist. And these docs all have verified reviews from actual real patients. We're talking about booking appointments with tens of thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed, credible doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat basically any condition that you're searching for. The typical wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between just 24 and 72 hours. That's it. You can even score same-day appointments. After so many years of navigating this country's dysfunctional health insurance system, this is something that would have saved both of us so much time, stress, and annoyance over the years. But it's finally here. Just go to ZocDoc.com/weeklyweird and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That is ZocDoc.com/weeklyweird. ZocDoc.com/weeklyweird. All right, now it's time to get into the craziest, weirdest, wildest headlines from around the world this week. Yeah. We talked about Mr. President. They were in the chamber before. Now they're. I think it's safe to say this is probably true for just anything you can think of. Yeah, any living being. This is going to be a true statement. Part of any living being. But not only are microplastics stored in the balls now. Microplastics discovered in human penises for the first time. And definitely not the last time. Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense that if they're in the balls, they would be in the penis. Yeah, they call it my 3D printer. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Like, obviously, I can't do anything about this. This is like the health crisis of our age, essentially. And it's just catching up with us. They're like, I don't know, maybe this is why like there's an erectile dysfunction crisis. I'm like, okay, first of all, is there an erectile dysfunction crisis, or are people just buying boner pills so they can get hard more easily? Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's so weird. It's like, yeah, we got plastic. It's in everything. It's in literally everything. We don't know if it's good. It's probably not good, but we can't say for sure if it's good or bad. It's everywhere. And we refuse to do anything about it. Well, it's too late. Yeah. It'll take thousands of years to get all this plastic out of just the air, the water, everything. It's there. It's just the world we live in has tiny little pieces of plastic everywhere, including inside of our own bodies, including inside of our penises and balls. Yeah, probably vaginas and buttholes and boobs as well. Definitely. Yeah. So, okay. Waffle House servers are getting a raise to $3 an hour.
Is this because they're? Is this still true everywhere that servers get paid like $2?
It's all the southern states.
Yeah.
They have what's called tipped minimum wage.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest fucking. It's just a travesty in terms of labor laws in this country. That in a lot of southern states, if you work at a job, like in a restaurant where there's tips, they legally can pay you like $2 an hour because of more of the tips. And it's just like.
You're offsetting
So you're
costs of that
essentially-
business, and you're making the entire tipping industry exist.
Yeah, well, this restaurant is skating by, essentially, not like it's just so fucked up. Like the burden of keeping your staff like from living on the street is entirely on the customer and not on the employer. It's very bizarre.
And this is bizarre for like a low-cost place to eat, an affordable place to eat. Where
this is the reason Waffle House is only in the South.
No, they're in Arizona.
Okay.
I mean, it's technically the South. It's south of,
I guess.
Yeah.
I wonder if Arizona has tipped minimum wage. You'll let us know.
Yeah.
But but they're finally getting a raise. They're going above the federal or state tipped minimum wage. They're giving them $3 an hour now instead of the previous like $2.15.
And we all know, like, you have to be a trained mixed martial artist to work there too, so that costs money.
No, it's insane. The shit these people go through.
Yeah. Also, it's gotta sting a little bit too now that like tipping is so outrageous, where it's just you're a server in a southern state that makes this low monthly or low hourly wage and then relies on tips, and everyone else is getting tips and getting whatever wage it is.
I mean,
it's because every screen has
the whole fucking tipping economy it's gone too far.
Yes.
Like obviously within the current system, you absolutely should tip, but we got to get rid of this shit. It's gotten out of hand.
I was at Dodgers.
Gotten way out of hand.
I went to a Dodgers game last week, and someone in front of me, like they're buying food for the family. They got like, first of all, obviously it's overpriced. It's
just stadium food.
Yeah, they got a couple Dodger dogs and a couple drinks, and it was like, I forget how much, but it was like $60 or $70 or something like that.
Do you want to pay?
15% was the smallest amount, and it's like, okay.
That's what pisses me off about those things, and it's either intentional or just by neglect. But it's like when I go to the coffee shop, I'm gonna give them $1.
Yes.
I'm gonna give them $1 or $2, depending on how much I got. I'm sorry, I'm not doing percentages, so you got to do a custom beep bop boop, and that's me being nice. I'm the exception, I think. I think most people are just being like, no tip.
Especially now.
Yeah, it's just fucking annoying. And that's just buying coffee. Like so many restaurants, especially in LA, you look at the receipt and you're like, what the fuck do I do with this information? There's like 5 line items for like fees that I'm like, what is this? Is this going to the restaurant? Is this going to the server? Do I have to tip on top of this? Is that what you're expecting me to do?
Yeah, even worse than that, it was the self-service section of, like, it was the Dodger Express.
Tip the fucking robot. Yeah, no, it sucks. It is so fucking refreshing.
No, there was a real person doing the ringing out, but it was like, okay.
You didn't do anything. Yeah. No, every time I go to Europe, it is so refreshing to just go to a restaurant.
Taxes are included.
Order a big old fucking meal, and they bring you the check, and you give them the exact amount of money that it costs, and that's it. No math, no nothing.
You've forgotten the niceness charge, the various service charges, a bunch of other things, and then the tip on top.
The California clean water fee, the Los Angeles mental health fee.
Yeah.
Enough! Make it stop!
Stop it! Put the price down,
just add the 20% to the cost of your shit and don't ask me to do any math.
Yeah.
I will pay the money. Anyways.
Let's move on.
Speaking of iconic American roadside cheap food places, Mr. President, it happened again.
Yeah.
Mom who didn't know she was pregnant gives birth inside Golden Corral bathroom. Last week we got the Taco Bell toilet baby. This week we got the Golden Corral toilet baby. What is going on? Is it the plastics? Is plastics making women
it's
not
bad food? And you're like, this could be a child or it could be gas.
I guess, but like, what is the plastics making women not realize they're pregnant? Because in both cases, these women were like, there was no signs at all that I was pregnant.
I don't know, like.
Anyway, yeah, this
It seems like you would probably know, but I'm not a woman, so I have no idea.
I guess so far the common thread, we don't have a lot of data to pull from here, but the common thread is eating food at places that canonically make you just squirt shit everywhere not long after eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, congrats to that toilet baby, though. The mom of this toilet baby.
Kept it?
Well, yeah, kept it, obviously. She already had like a 2-year-old, so this is just her next kid.
Yeah.
But she gave the kid the middle name Corral to honor Golden Corral. Golden Corral.
What a story they'll be able
Golden
to tell.
Corral was posting about it as big PR for them. Like, we are proud of this.
Our bathrooms are so clean, you can give birth. Come on down.
Come have your toilet, baby.
You never
Golden
have to
Corral.
leave. We got the buffet, we got the toilets. And it's a lot cheaper than going to the hospital.
I mean,
And it works.
That's the thing. Like, as shocking as it would be to go and take a shit and a baby pops out, like, yeah, you just saved tens of thousands of dollars, ma'am. I mean, I'm assuming she did still have to go to the hospital after that. Yeah. You would hope. But I would assume like they removed some of the fees because the baby's already born.
Yeah.
Now we're just checking if it's like normal and getting all the poop off. Just wiping off the piss and shit. That's gonna be $10,000.
All right, well, I wonder what fast food establishment or
who will be next?
roadside place is going to be the next one.
Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel. Yeah, we named him Wooly Willy after the game they sell in the gift shop. Oh boy, gosh. Family of Taekwondo instructors saves Texas woman from sexual assault. Hey, good for them.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. Also, it's just
This is like a plot of the Three Ninjas.
It was a woman being sexually assaulted by, I don't know, some random, but the story's doesn't have a lot of details, but literally in like the office space next to a Taekwondo studio run by a family of 5 who are all like 3rd-degree black belts.
Yeah.
They heard the screams and they all came running. And yeah, it was like in a movie. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like they didn't just beat the living shit out of the man. They should have. They did the more
restraint.
They did the sensible thing of just restraining him and calling the cops. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I bet that woman. I mean, as horrible as this whole situation is, you're in the middle of that, and then a family of people in gis come in, and rescue you. Like, is this even real? Have I died? Well, am I in a fugue state?
Yeah, it's a terrible, awful situation. But luckily, it happened right next to a family of Taekwondo guys.
Yeah, and it's got to feel good for them. Like, you obviously
Finally, it's a
you trained in martial arts for years, and it's like, it's cool that if anything did happen, you'd be equipped to deal with it. Yeah. But like, nothing ever fucking happens.
You gotta assume though, in Texas, you're really taking a gamble on whether or not you're gonna get shot to death by intervening.
Yeah.
In anything.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's why their hands are registered as weapons.
Yeah. Pew, pew. Portland Pickles become first sports team to legally sell THC products in games. You gonna reference that pickle dick? Remember that's the mascot. He posted the pickle dick picture.
Oh yeah. No, we've covered the Portland Pickles many times. I think the last time was someone stole the costume and like held it for ransom. Mm-hmm. He posted hog on the timeline.
They're just a like a farm team. They're not like they're not like the Savannah Bananas, right?
No, I think they're AAA. I don't know. MLB has like 5 tiers of teams, so it's hard to know. But they're somewhere down there.
Savannah Bananas, and there's a couple others. They're like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. They
yeah.
The Stilts.
No, the Portland Pickles are a real
Flaming
team.
Bad. Yeah.
They're a real minor league team, and I guess fairly popular because Portland, Oregon does not have an MLB team for hundreds of miles. Yeah. The closest one's the Mariners, and I ain't rooting for no Washington team. But yeah, they got the pickle, and now they sell THC sodas at the games.
Hey, good for that.
Yeah, which as I've said, I recently got into weed soda, very low dose weed soda, which is what they'll be selling at the games, where it's like just a few milligrams of THC. It just takes the edge off. It's very nice.
So much better than a crowd full of people just wasted on booze.
Or just ripping like bong.
Oh yeah. But what I'm saying is like, you would imagine if there were fights happening here, they would probably drop by a significant percentage.
Yeah. That thing they did with the British fans in Germany, they need to do that with all sports.
Yeah.
Especially hockey. The most aggressive fan behavior I've ever seen has been in hockey games.
Well, there's fights on the ice.
Yeah, that does get the crowd going.
Yeah.
They got fights on the brain.
Exactly.
Woman caught smuggling 350 Nintendo Switch games in her bra.
Smart. No one's gonna look there, and they're very small games.
I want to go back to like 1989 and show someone this headline. Like, how is that possible?
Well,
Or she must have the biggest chest in the world.
Yeah.
350 Nintendo games hidden in a bra.
Yeah, at least that would be kind of believable, because if you just showed them a micro SD card and said, hey, you know that game you're playing? There's 5,000 of them on this.
No, that's not possible.
Yeah, it would not
Do you
make
have
sense.
to blow on it?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I do sometimes just out of superstition.
Yeah, do you lick it? Get that taste?
No, we did do that when the Switch came out, though.
Terrible. I will not be swallowing this game.
No, they've got me. They got my number. They said there's going to be a guy out there, and probably a whole lot of kids, that try to put these in their mouths just for a little taste, and we got to stop them.
I don't know why you couldn't just go through airport security with all those games. Like, would they have even known?
Yeah, it seems a lot more suspicious to have these hidden on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just, sorry, I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
And then you throw it back. You're like, oh, you think women can't play games?
Yeah. Guess what? I'm a girl gamer.
And I play a lot more games than you. Flop,
And I ran out of space in my luggage, so I put them in the safest place I know,
Yeah,
my chest.
yeah. They're very sensitive. I can tell if one is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secret Service agent robbed at gunpoint during Biden's Los Angeles trip, police say.
To be fair, I believe this happened in Orange County.
Yeah, so this
It was
story
on his Los Angeles trip.
This story is very something doesn't add up here, because Biden did not go to Orange County.
No.
Right? So this happened in Tustin. And as an OC boy, I first of all, Tustin, spent a lot of time there as a kid. Not a place you get mugged.
It's just car dealerships and
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure people get mugged there, but it's not a place that is known for that kind of thing at all.
yeah.
And so Biden's in Los Angeles.
We're good.
So Biden's in Los Angeles raising money for
Jack Black was there doing a little thing, getting everyone excited to vote.
Why is this Secret Service agent driving from LA to Tustin, which is like a 45-minute drive, and then walking around with like a briefcase on the streets of Tustin and getting robbed at gunpoint?
I hope nobody robs me.
Did this robbery even happen, or did this Secret Service agent just like lose his fucking briefcase and then file a false police report saying he got mugged on the mean streets of Tustin?
Maybe he lives there?
No, that wouldn't make sense.
Why would you live
Maybe he has family there. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe visiting family because he was in town.
It's just very odd.
Yeah, it is a little strange. I don't like the framing that this happened in Los Angeles, because we already get plenty of bad press.
Yeah, he came to LA and then got robbed
outside of LA.
in Orange County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need Orange County making LA look bad. We do it just fine on our own.
It's like Tustin is so, I mean, depends on which part of Tustin he was in, but it's not even a place you would walk. It's one of those towns where like
there's just nothing.
90% of it is like you have to have a fucking car.
Yeah, a parking lot is a full day quest to walk across.
Yeah, no, it has a shopping center that I believe at one point was the largest outdoor shopping center in the country, where you park your car in the parking lot to go to one place and then drive to a different part of the parking lot to go to the next place.
The opposite of a 15-minute city.
Yeah, it's a real hellhole.
Sorry to all our Tustin viewers.
No, it's true. They got a good brewery there, though. One of the first SoCal microbrews was Tustin Brewing Company.
All right,
So shout out to them.
Your local fact of the day.
Yeah.
Republican candidate tells Black Americans to leave U.S. in Juneteenth message.
I'm just saying it. And this is that woman. I don't know if we covered her yet, but she's this woman in it's like Minneapolis, but she is like, I think, either first generation American or was like literally born in like Mexico or Guatemala, because she has a pretty strong accent. She first got attention for telling people stop being weak and gay and vote Republican.
I remember you're talking
and
about.
like full now just like full on just saying, like, Black Americans, if you're celebrating Juneteenth, you can get out. So I don't know. We'll see how she does. She's a candidate, and she's certainly attracting attention.
Yeah.
And that's what really matters these days.
Probably
Attention.
not great.
She ordered some attention. She got it.
Donald Trump claims Joan Rivers voted for him in 2016, except she died 2 years before.
Yes, there's a new Trump book out. There's been thousands of them. This new one sounds kind of interesting. It's a book mainly about The Apprentice. So it's about Mark Burnett and Trump.
Yeah.
And excerpts of this keep leaking of him, because I guess the interviews were actually conducted for this book like within the past year. And the author just got Trump like on the record saying lots of insane shit. Like basically, like I don't even know how this came up, but like Taylor Swift came up and he's like, oh, she's very hot. I am attracted to her.
Yeah.
You're telling me she's actually a liberal? She's not just doing it for show? That's too bad. But she's real hot. I like what I see.
Well, yeah, I think if you get Trump talking about something besides politics, you just let him run.
He goes on like a tangent about Deborah Messing, apparently, where he's like, back when The Apprentice was on, she came up to me at the Golden Globes and she said, oh, thank you, Donald, for saving NBC. Thank you. And I think The Apprentice helped her show out a lot. And the writer's like, but her show came on before The Apprentice, so that's not how that would work. He's like, well, you know, the lead in or the lead out. Got The Apprentice bump. And now she hates me. Very sad.
Very nasty.
Very nasty. I told her she was very attractive. It's not fair that I'm such an attractive woman who I would love to have sex with would have a problem with me.
When does that
I
book
was so
come out?
nice to her. Soon, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, if stuff's leaking from it. It's probably out to the press.
Yeah,
so.
this might be the first like Trump book I read, because like the whole story of The Apprentice is actually, I think, much more interesting than the story of like Trump's presidency.
It's certainly when it's looked back upon in the history books, people will be like, well, what was he doing before all that weird shit? Oh, it's even weirder than that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's look into this.
GOP Michigan representative and gun rights supporter Neil Frisky accused of chasing a stripper while firing a gun.
I mean, that lines up with his beliefs.
And he, like his office, his representatives initially were like, so Representative Frisky is he's constantly exercising his Second Amendment rights.
Yeah.
So.
And his name is Frisky.
Yeah.
He's gonna get frisky.
But yeah, I guess they're possible felony charges for this guy, and they're like, it happened at like 2:30 in the morning. Like a stripper ran from his house while he chased her with a gun. And he's like, guys, it's not as bad as it looks. I can explain. There's a perfectly reasonable explanation.
Yeah, simply expressing my Second Amendment rights. Woo! Whoa, Michigan, weird place.
Yeah, Michigan is what, like, you know how like Florida, it's like the north and south are sort of flipped, although less so. Michigan is like a southern state that got like shoved up in the Great Lakes.
Yeah, well,
and
that in Ohio.
Outside of the Detroit metro, like Michigan is kind of like a southern state.
Yeah.
And also just like empty. Like you have Detroit and a few other big cities, and the rest of the state is just like,
well, it's
forest,
beautiful.
and it's a great it's a great place to start a militia.
Yeah.
It's a great place to plot to overthrow the U.S. government.
And very little natural disasters. It's the place you want to be when everything goes down.
Yeah, they got that clean water from the lake, the big lake.
I would venture to say that a lot of the state would disagree with you, especially Flint, Michigan.
Well, they're not getting their water from the lake. They're getting it from the pipes, and the pipes are nasty. They got lead in those pipes.
Oh, well, that's it for this week's episode of Weekly Weird News. Please like the video, give us a like, and leave a comment. Get a conversation going down there about...
Start the talking.
Yeah.
Down there.
About Tustin.
In the talking section, yeah. Do you believe the Secret Service agent was actually robbed on the streets of Tustin? I don't. What do you think?
So please leave a like, leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not already, and please watch our most recent videos. We got just us mentally preparing for the debate next week on News Dump, among other things, and then an episode of
I'm going to up my THC milligrams for that one.
Yeah. We are, believe it or not, less than a week away from the first presidential debate of the 2024 election year. And folks, I think it's safe to say that I am equally both disinterested and a little fascinated by what is going to take place.
Unless they ask both of these men to draw a clock I don't care.
That should be the first thing that happens. They should have the, like on Jeopardy, where they have the screens below and they have to write their names. It should be the name and then what they think a clock looks like.
Draw a clock.
Yeah.
What does a clock look like?
But yeah, what is going to happen when two doddering old fools step up to their podiums to huff, grunt, and groan at each other for 90 minutes straight, alternating back and forth between the candidates who have, in recent months, both shared numerous gaffes, mispronunciations, meandering trains of thought, and just general incoherence.
And possibly general incontinence.
If you are somehow unaware, Trump has had as many problems with public speaking, recollection, pronunciation, and general misinformation lately as Biden.
Yeah, it's two different types of sundowning.
Yeah, even when Trump is making jokes about Biden. Like earlier this week when Trump said that Biden should be forced to take a dementia test like Trump did with his White House doctor, Ronnie Johnson, a name that Trump recalled over and over, despite that doctor's name actually being Ronnie Jackson.
He was in the administration. That's fucking crazy. And he's currently a senator.
Ronnie Johnson, we know him, we love him.
He's like, these videos of Biden, they're calling him clean fakes. You guys know what a clean fake is? And a clean fake isn't a thing. I think he was talking about deep fakes.
No, there's a new term being thrown around that is cheap fakes, meaning they're not altering the videos with AI or anything, but they're editing them in a way that makes Biden look worse than he is.
Yeah.
Like he was looking around to talk to one of the paratroopers the other day, I think, and they edited it to where he was like, oh, he's just staring off into the distance at nothing.
It did look pretty ridiculous, but yes. He does have clean fakes.
Plenty of his own problems, but yes, it is noticeable that they're having to resort to what they're describing as cheap fakes to make him look worse than he is.
Clean fakes. They're called clean fakes, folks.
Yeah, and the fact that Trump can't even get it right is testament to his brain power currently.
So yeah, there's countless examples of Trump getting facts wrong, both intentionally and unintentionally. Slurred speech, incoherent ramblings, in addition to all the other types of gaffes that we previously mentioned, to the point where conservative media has decided to explain it away by just saying that Trump is just joking around.
People are talking about how Trump's losing it because Joe Biden's losing it too. Trump's kidding around. He's having fun. He's kicking about, talking about Hannibal Lecter. He's looking in the audience. He's playing around. And now people going, Trump is losing it. No, he's having fun.
That's just Trump being Trump.
Yeah.
He's having a good time when these issues occur. And not at all, because Trump is also a very, very old man who is only a few years younger than Biden. It is very weird that the Republicans are like, God, look at this Joe Biden guy. He's old as shit, isn't he? I don't think you really, that's not a card you can really play.
Yeah.
In recent months, Trump has mixed up who the current president is, referring to Biden as Obama.
Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear war. You've heard that, nuclear.
Where's my wife, Mercedes?
He has failed to pronounce Venezuela. Vuvuzela.
Maduro, Venezuela, it's unbelievable.
He thinks Argentina is a person.
They went MAGA. Argentina, great guy. He's a big Trump guy. He loves Trump. I love him because he loves Trump. What he called, I think, is call him anybody that loves me, I like them.
He mixed up Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi.
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. Nikki Haley, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything? Deleted and destroyed all of it. All of it. Because of lots of things. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people.
Now, we're not saying that Biden doesn't have his share of gaffes.
Woo! And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was, Barack said to me, go to Detroit. They'll fix it.
Just that it's a little scary how effectively Republicans have been able to paint Biden as the one who's experiencing cognitive decline, while Trump is having the exact same issues. They're both old as shit.
Having said all of that, it would be great if we could stop propping up literally the oldest possible options available as the next leader of the free world. It is patently absurd that we are essentially forced between two candidates who will be in their 80s during the presidency. We will get our first look at both of them performing against one another very soon, because next week, like we said, is the first presidential debate of the season. And it's coming a lot sooner than it typically would, but there's no primaries. There's no reason to...
Technically, the primaries aren't even done.
Yeah.
Coming before the conventions.
Yeah, which is
very unusual.
Trump doesn't even have a VP pick yet. He's also going to be sentenced for his 34 felony counts soon.
Yeah.
But it will be airing on CNN next Thursday, and it should be a little bit different from previous years, as both candidates have agreed to a few stipulations in an attempt to make this thing at least watchable.
No clock drawing. Don't ask me to draw a clock.
No. What I think, there's a couple of things that make this palatable, I guess. I think the main one is that they're doing away with the live studio audience.
That's good.
Yeah.
I guess.
It is.
That's always the most annoying aspect of these debates. Yeah. It very much, and also the live audience, and then also like let's get a room full of the most brain dead Americans we can find and ask them how they felt about this. I mean, it's interesting. That's
the average
voter.
That's definitely going to happen afterwards, though. It's just because what they do now is they're like, we set up a viewing party at a bar, and then we talk to people afterwards.
And yeah, you're probably wondering, what about RFK Jr.? Was Zachary Levy's endorsement of the candidate enough to finally push him over the edge and convince America to give him a chance, despite being an obvious spoiler candidate who's riddled with brainworms?
Self-admittedly.
No, RFK Jr., he failed to qualify for the debate because he didn't pass the 15% threshold in certain polls. Nor is he even on the ballot in enough states to theoretically have a shot at winning the election.
Yeah.
He's just doing this just to have something to do.
I need more sponsors.
He's doing this to spend less time with his wife and more time around the ex-wife of that Google executive.
Yeah, even RFK has a VP pick, even though it's a very strange VP pick.
Yeah. Although the idea of 3 people on stage that you can't understand instead of just 2, that is appealing.
It would be fun to watch.
Yeah. It's just not in the cards for old RFK Jr., who is now convinced that the CIA is out to get him and is using the American news media to hurt his chances at becoming president.
Yeah.
Buddy, when the CIA wants to do something about a Kennedy, they usually are a little bit more lethal about how they go about it. Anyway, it's certainly not his fault for being so unlikable. So that leaves us with the other 2 guys, who will hopefully provide the country with a perfect example of why it's imperative that we somehow figure out how to embrace younger candidates. Please, let this be the last time we do this. Here's CNN with details on the upcoming debate.
The 90-minute debate will include 2 commercial breaks, according to the network, and campaign staff may not interact with their candidate during that time.
Not even to change their diaper?
Oh, no. Both candidates agreed to appear at a uniform podium, and their podium positions will be determined by a coin flip.
I hope it's one of them Trump coins.
Microphones will be muted throughout the debate, except for the candidate whose turn it is to speak. And that is a recent development that happened because of Trump.
Yeah, he kept interrupting everyone.
The first time this ever happened was in the last presidential election debates, because he cannot help himself.
Yeah, he can't shut the fuck up.
While no props or pre-written notes will be allowed on the stage, candidates will be given a pen, a pad of paper, and a bottle of water. Some aspects of the debate, including the absence of a studio audience, will be a departure from previous debates. But as in the past, the moderators will use all tools at their disposal to enforce timing and ensure a civilized discussion, according to the network.
Good luck.
While both candidates are working to prep behind the scenes, the debate obviously could go off the rails at any moment. And it'll be interesting to see which attacks the candidates go with. I mean, Biden could obviously bring up Trump's multiple felony convictions as a very easy attack.
He could, except his campaign has been bizarrely hesitant to even bring up the fact that this man is literally a convicted felon.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing you can say about Republicans and Trump specifically is they love spiking the football. They love racking up their wins and pointing at the scoreboard. And the Biden folks, it's like Trump gets convicted of like dozens of felonies. First time it's ever fucking happened. And the next thing you hear from Biden is like, it's time to hold a press conference about the problems down at the border.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So we're just not, oh, fine, great. Yeah. Anyway, Trump's attacks might be more difficult considering that he would probably aim at the economy and immigration. Now, on immigration, Biden, despite our views on the subject and the views of a lot of other people, has taken what is essentially the conservative position on our southern border in recent weeks. He is more to the right than like George H.W. Bush. And I guess you could say he's caught Republicans in a trap earlier this year during what was supposed to be a bipartisan border bill. Republicans backed out of it so that we can't fix this problem.
Because then Trump can't solve it.
Trump can't run on it.
Yeah, it was blatant.
Yeah, so on the economy, I mean, yeah, it sucks out there in many ways, especially for normal people.
Yeah.
But compared with, I guess, other first world nations, the U.S. has fared quite well coming out of the pandemic. And as we've seen countless times, many of the monetary issues actually stem from just corporate greed and companies' willingness to artificially inflate the cost of goods and services and just gouge the shit out of you.
Proven by the fact that now that they've milked every last penny out of people, they're like, all right, the $5 deals are back.
Although I heard eggs are back up. I haven't bought any eggs in a while.
Trump's gonna be running on the great egg debate.
I get my eggs for free from my in-laws who have chickens. So I'm out of the egg economy. Now there's still a ton of issues, and one of the biggest issues when it comes to young voters is Biden's handling of the Israel-Palestine war, which has made him unelectable for a significant amount of voters. Yeah, especially the ones in swing states like Michigan, who happen to literally have family back in Palestine.
Yeah. Also, the fact that Biden, despite how oddly friendly he's been with Netanyahu, keeps getting dog walked by
Netanyahu just like doing press conferences like, Biden has betrayed us. We really should elect this Trump guy again. Who could have seen this coming? Oh, fucking anyone who was paying attention. And it's like, even if you don't have any opinion on the war itself, like, I've got to imagine, for the average person who's even just slightly paying attention, it's a bad look for your president to be dog-walked by a country like 1% its size, 1% of the population.
After publicly, despite countless protests, has given them almost everything that they want.
Yeah, as Bill Clinton.
In the face of evidence that they've been committing war crimes and general atrocities.
Bill Clinton famously said behind closed doors during his presidency, while he was dealing with the Israelis, like, who's the fucking superpower, dude? Remind me. Which one of us is the superpower?
It is legitimately embarrassing for Biden.
Yeah, dude, it's like, like I said, even if you have no fucking opinion on this war, it's just like, in principle, the U.S. president should not be getting dog-walked by the president of a country the size of fucking Connecticut. Come on. Anyway, it would be hard for Trump to attack Biden on that issue, considering how much worse, honestly, it would be under Trump. Biden is giving Israel everything they're asking for. Trump would just nuke Gaza. Maybe not that badly, but
Kushner was famously, like 2 or 3 months ago, was like, this is going to make a lot of great beachfront property.
Yeah, I don't think it's controversial to say that Trump's approach to this same exact scenario would be significantly more evil.
Yeah.
As hard as that might be to believe.
I mean, he kickstarted a lot of this by moving the American embassy a few years back when he was actually president.
Yeah, which was a thing that every president going back like 30 years would say that he was going to do, would go to the AIPAC conference and be like, yep, we're definitely moving the embassy to Jerusalem. And then the second they get into office, like, no, we're not fucking doing that. Are you insane?
Well, he did it.
Yeah, so yeah, these choices, they fucking suck. What a great place to be in. But, the election year, it carries on, whether we like it or not. And next week will be our first real taste of it since the Republican primaries earlier this year, which were kind of fun.
And essentially pointless because
it's like none of these people are going to be president. So
let's just watch
argue
them make
amongst
fools of
yourselves.
themselves.
Also, I don't know, maybe we'll get a Trump VP pick soon, which, that's a very funny subplot.
Now, meanwhile, over in North Korea, Russian President Vladimir Putin was visiting his bestie, Kim Jong-un.
I literally, when I saw...
I thought it was AI.
I thought this was AI.
So aside from reviving a mutual defense pledge, which is understandably making South Korea and other countries a bit nervous, they found time to pal around like a couple of old high school buddies, resulting in a completely surreal clip of Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin cruising around together in a luxury car in what looks like it would be the most horrific episode of Carpool Karaoke ever filmed.
What would they sing? Also, comedic dictators in cars getting vodka.
Yeah, these images could only be worse if James Corden was sitting in the back seat, goading them along into a song.
They should send James Corden to North Korea.
And Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, send him over there.
Here's the clip.
No return flight needed.
Yeah, here you go.
Wild. As for what they were
Did you see the video of Putin on the plane waving?
No.
See, that one might be creatively edited because it seems like that, but like they're just waving to. It's the no, you hang up. No, you hang up. But in person and waving out of an airplane at their friend saying bye.
Putin, obviously a profoundly evil man, but he is looking more and more cuddly these days.
I don't agree.
His cheeks are filling in. He's putting on some jolly weight.
I mean, I guess if you consider only physical appearance, but
yeah, no. If you knew nothing about this man and you just saw like clips of him smiling, you'd be like, look at that jolly old man. I bet he dresses up as Santa Claus during Christmas.
No, in reality, he is a person who is getting more and more desperate for power and willing to do things that are insane.
A profoundly evil man.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are looking at him and Kim Jong-un riding around in a car, being besties. As for what they were actually doing together and what that whole mutual defense pact means, here's the New York Times. Mr. Putin, speaking at a joint briefing in Pyongyang after the two leaders signed the document, said the pact called for the nations to aid one another in the event of aggression against either country. Mr. Kim claimed the new treaty elevated the two countries' relations to an alliance. Mr. Putin, speaking on his first trip to North Korea in nearly a quarter century, cast possible Russian military support for Pyongyang as a logical response to the West supplying weapons to Ukraine, which he claimed violated various international obligations. Russia, quote, does not exclude the development of military technical cooperation with North Korea, he said, threatening to support the ambitions of a military that the United Nations, backed by Russia, has been trying to defang for years.
And they add that his remarks appeared to come dangerously close to helping Mr. Kim obtain what he has long coveted and the West has vehemently opposed: acceptance of North Korea as a nuclear weapons state.
I mean, you don't have to accept it. They are.
Yeah.
They have nukes.
So, yeah, it should probably go without saying, not to bring up Trump again, but obviously Trump has praised both of these guys multiple times.
I bet he saw that clip. He's like,
he was jealous.
Oh,
I guarantee
come on, there's got to be room for one more in there.
Do I have time for a little trip to North Korea before the debates?
And he, like, his admiration for these guys is so, it's obviously, he's just like, oh, they don't have to, like, do democracy.
Yeah. They don't have
like
laws
they get to just rule.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, he has praised both of them separately and together multiple times. He's met with both of them under what appeared to be very friendly circumstances. And that is a very, very bizarre thing for a U.S. president to do. The idea that Kim Jong-un is embracing a closer relationship with Russia and their military, while their biggest U.S. ally is running for president and might win, should probably scare people. And it should, I don't know, maybe disqualify Trump as a candidate, but the Republican Party is way too far gone for any of that much self-reflection.
Yeah. Anyway, one more anger-inducing bit of political news for you today, and then we'll get into some more lighthearted fare, like the anniversary of the Ocean Gate submarine disaster.
Yeah.
Fun. And Justin Timberlake getting arrested for DUI. Fun. Among lots of other fun things.
Yeah.
But we should absolutely point out how insane it is that the state of Louisiana has spit directly in the face of the Constitution that they claim to love by clearly dissolving the separation of church and state through a new law that requires classrooms in public schools to display the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't want kids learning about sex, and up there on the wall it says, do not commit adultery.
What's adultery?
It's a post. It has to be like a certain size, too, so they can read it from any part of the classroom.
What does coveting your neighbor's wife mean?
And it's not just public schools. It's also public universities there, too. The poster's going to have to be a little bit bigger. If
what a ridiculous state.
Yeah.
So yeah, for all their talk of respecting the Constitution, conservatives, they sure love cramming their specific version of religion in everyone's faces.
Mm-hmm.
I guess freedom of religion and the separation of church and state aren't as valid as some of the other things mentioned in the Constitution. Probably should rank the Bill of Rights a little, you know. Here's our top 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights.
Doing it like
number one,
David Letterman bit.
I was doing more like 10 for the win.
Oh, okay.
Number one.
Okay, friendos.
Then again, picking and choosing specific parts of a text in order to fit their very narrow worldview is kind of what modern Christians excel at.
Yeah.
They're very good at it, especially here in America. But with more on this, here's the Associated Press.
A bill signed into law this week makes Louisiana the only state to require that the 10 Commandments be displayed in every classroom in public schools and colleges. and stirs the long-running debate over the role of religion in government institutions. Under the new law, all public K-12 classrooms and state-funded universities will be required to display a poster-sized display of the Ten Commandments in large, easily readable font next year. Civil liberties groups planned lawsuits to block the law signed by Republican Governor Jeff Landry, saying it would unconstitutionally breach protections against government-imposed religion. Similar bills requiring the Ten Commandments be displayed in classrooms have been proposed in other state houses, including Texas, Oklahoma, and Utah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, one of the things that politicians claim is behind the reasoning for this, it's always protecting the children or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Ironically, though, as this bill was being signed into law by Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, a child standing behind him literally passed out and fell down with zero concern from any of the lawmakers. So yeah, just one of those things where if you do believe in some higher power, you gotta admit, he's got a pretty good sense of humor.
Make that child in the background pass out.
Smited.
All right, moving over to DWI news. As you're probably already well aware, pop star Justin Timberlake was arrested for allegedly driving while intoxicated while in the Hamptons this week. And we typically wouldn't cover a story like this unless it was a politician or something, but it did result in one of the most unintentionally funny exchanges possible between Timberlake and the officer on the scene. A conversation that, once again, makes us feel old as hell.
I mean, yeah. I bet it made him feel old as hell, too.
Absolutely. Also, there's a second subplot of this where a Twitter account called Poo Crave, meant to look like Pop Crave, was just making stuff up, and everyone believed it because it was close enough to Pop Crave.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, first, as Elliot pointed out on Twitter, if you have Justin Timberlake money, why the hell are you driving yourself around, especially if you've been drinking?
Yeah, I don't know his exact net worth, but it's got to be in the millions, maybe tens of millions.
Even not.
If I had that money, I would never be behind the wheel of a car ever again.
Yeah.
Driving sucks.
Yeah, unless it's like a sports car on track or like you're doing it for recreation or something like that, sure. But even outside of a dedicated chauffeur, which I'm sure that he can afford, he can get an Uber. And look, Ubers are no longer as cheap as they used to be, but they are still a hell of a lot cheaper than a DUI or the damage that it could do.
They got Ubers in the Hamptons, right?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they're very nice. You can probably take a blade from the restaurant to your house in the Hamptons. And not to mention, obviously, there's a very clear issue with driving while intoxicated. You could hurt or kill someone.
Yeah, and also based on the police report, it sounds like this wasn't just like one too many. He was driving while fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, he got photographed for his mugshot using what appeared to be the best camera available.
Yeah.
And then was photographed in handcuffs walking out of the station. Now take this with a grain of salt, but here's page 6. We were also told that the cop who pulled Timberlake over was so young that he didn't even know who the 10-time Grammy winner was. He didn't recognize him or his name, our insider says. A second source adds, Justin said under his breath, "This is gonna ruin the tour." The cop replied, "What tour?" Justin said, "The world tour."
This is the most, like, it's like written perfectly, like a comedy sketch. This is gonna ruin the tour. Like, the world tour.
Yeah, and then the first victims, Poland. His show in Poland is on the same day he's due back in court.
Yeah.
Sorry, Poland. No Justin for you.
Now, in other news, can you believe it's been a year already? 1 year since that submarine went missing, with CEO Stockton Rush, as well as a few other rich assholes, and unfortunately at least one totally innocent kid who almost certainly didn't want to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Have we learned anything since then? No. Apparently not, considering that at least one billionaire is already planning another trip down to the Titanic. But we did get two sort of news stories this week related to the doomed OceanGate expedition. One from an investor who apparently had to lie his way out of a spot on that submarine, and another from one of the company's co-founders who is now organizing a brand new trip to yet another seemingly dangerous location. Now first, here's Business Insider with the story of the guy who almost went down with that ship.
Jay Bloom, a Las Vegas investor, says he was offered seats on OceanGate's Titan submersible, but got nervous about safety and lied about a scheduling conflict to get out of it. Bloom, who recounted parts of his story on Facebook soon after the incident, told Newsweek that OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush had offered them $100,000 off the ticket price for each seat. He said Rush also met him in Las Vegas in March 2023 and tried to convince him that the titanium and carbon fiber submersible was safe and could withstand the immense water pressure during the dive. All kinds of flags were going off after that meeting when he said there's too much money wasted on safety in the industry, Bloom said.
You're trying to get...
No, it's safe, trust me. Everyone's always talking, oh, is it safe, is it safe? They're wasting all this money actually testing. No, it's safe. Get in this up. Get in this up, I'll give you a discount. Get this up.
Yeah, I will give you $100,000 off.
Please, just get this up.
Plus this industry takes safety way too seriously, Remark. Yeah, I would say that's a red flag.
And he's telling me that it's safer than flying helicopters. It's safer than scuba diving and safer than crossing the street. Bloom told Newsweek that he and his son then made up a scheduling conflict and bowed out of the June 2023 dive. The Titan submersible set off to explore the Titanic wreck on June 18th, but lost contact with its support ship within 2 hours.
And, if you're thinking, hey, this guy has a good head on his shoulders, or maybe at least some good intuition. Well, buddy, you're also wrong about that, because the next few sentences get progressively worse in the funniest way possible. Still, Bloom told Newsweek that he might be willing to venture to the wreck of the Titanic if it were a Navy expedition or one guided by James Cameron. Quote, I'll put it like this. If Elon Musk...
No!
If Elon Musk called me and said, hey, let's go to space, I'd probably consider going. And probably would go, because he's got the resources, Bloom said. But if you said, hey, I built a rocket in my backyard, let's go to space, I'd probably decline, he added. Same thing here.
I mean, with the James Cameron thing, I'm like, yeah, right on. I would trust no one more than James Cameron to take me to the darkest depths of the ocean. But then you got to bring Elon into it, and I'm like, no, sorry. You're getting on that one alone, Mr. Bloom.
Yeah.
I'll stay here at sea level. But speaking of people who haven't learned their lessons, one of the co-founders of OceanGate is already planning another dive. And despite this dive being significantly less deep than the Titanic, it comes with plenty of its own issues. Also, just at this point, you would hope that people, aside from experts who are conducting research or experiments, might just steer clear of submersibles for a little while. While, especially if the submersible has direct ties to a company that is responsible for one of the only catastrophes in that industry. This is kind of the only time something like that's happened.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, here's the Independent. A year on from the Titan submersible disaster, the OceanGate co-founder is organizing a trip to one of the world's deepest underwater sinkholes. Oh no! Guillermo Solnline, 58, co-founded OceanGate in 2009 with Stockton Rush, who died in last year's submersible implosion at the age of 61.
After leaving the company in 2013, Mr. Solnline co-founded another underwater exploration company, Blue Marble Exploration, and it has set its sights on a 663 feet previously unexplored sinkhole.
Oh, good.
Located in the Bahamas, Bean's Blue Hole is described by the company as being virtually explored, and anyone joining the first manned submersible dive to the site is encouraged to expect the unexpected.
Oh, God.
This sounds like Willie's chocolate experience, but with a submarine.
I hope the unknown isn't down in that sinkhole.
The unknown is definitely there.
It's the unknown.
Oh, God, what's that out the porthole? It's the unknown.
Imagine being at the bottom of the sea and the unknown swims up.
At that point, I'd be like, all right, I got my
I'd be
life blue.
shitting myself.
Yeah, at least if I get my jelly beans once I get up on land, then I'll be happy.
He lives in the walls, he lives in the sea.
Blue Marble Exploration's website says, locals believe that Dean's is a portal to hell, and the devil himself lurks in the black depth.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Let's go right on down there.
I mean, why does everyone, mostly rich people, but why does everyone seem so dead set on tempting fate in the most ridiculous ways? Like, yeah, we're going down to Dean's, they call it the devil's portal to hell. Let's go check it out.
Why don't they just get into, like, parkour? That's dangerous.
Yeah. They're calling it Satan's asshole. It must be explored.
We got to go down to Satan's taint.
Yes.
And feel around.
Anyways, it continues.
Each year, several people drown in Dean's due to a variety of misfortunes. We fully expect to find human remains and prepare to handle those situations with proper respect for the families. Uncharted waters, unforeseen currents, extreme pressure, near complete darkness, and the remote location are listed as challenges for the trip. While the website says, join our expedition, it is not known whether this comes at a cost similar to the $250,000 OceanGate charged citizen explorers to see the Titanic wreckage. The ad for the mission reads, The next frontier for our team is in the underwater depths of Dean's Blue Hole. In the first descent of crewed submersibles equipped with LED lights and underwater drone technology, our scientists will be able to venture into some of Earth's least hospitable conditions in search of unprecedented findings. It is not known what type of submersibles will be used for the mission.
Oh, good. And you know what? I do think this is interesting. I think they should probably just send down a unmanned submersible to take a look around and gather up the remains. I also think that would probably show a lot more respect for the families of those people if they didn't turn it into a tourism expedition.
This is very much tempting fate.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I think the whole world would be interested in seeing some of this stuff. Let's just send a camera down there. Instead, they have, that's the problem, is they have to get funding for this stuff. And so they're asking people to pay a bunch of money to basically conduct experiments. And that is funny because going back to that guy, the investor from Las Vegas, who Stockton Rush gave a $100,000 discount to, it is wild to see that is almost a 50% discount.
Yeah.
Of course that's gonna be a red flag.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of rich people probably saw what happened last year and they're like, well, RIP to them. But
Couldn't happen to me.
But I'm built different.
Yeah.
Send me down on the next one.
We all know lightning never strikes twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, one of the greatest storylines that I was going to talk about this week, but unfortunately they did end up losing a game, was the fact that during the Grimace era, the Mets had not lost a game in like 8 games or so. And it was a fun storyline. You had Gay Grimace throwing out the first pitch, potentially having an affair with Mrs. Met.
Wait, I thought he was gay.
Well, you know, maybe he's bi, and we should respect that.
Okay.
But regardless, it put the Mets on a winning streak, and they weren't doing so well. So it was a very fun time to be sort of watching the Mets from a distance.
Well, cool.
Yeah, can't wait for the next baseball storyline, because they're always fun.
Yeah.
Always a lot of fun.
A lot of great baseball
That's what
stories.
happens when you have 3 hours of gameplay in the sun.
And like
lots of drunk
263 games a year. Yeah, lot of opportunities for things to happen.
All right, we'll be back with some weird news on Weekly Weird News very soon. But in the meantime, make sure you hit the like button. Please do it. Please smash the like button.
Come on.
You've been doing good. I think you can do a little bit better. If you're one of those people who's like, someone else will take care of it for me. No, click it right now. Also, make sure you're subscribed. This episode wasn't sponsored, obviously, so click the join button if you're feeling frisky, and watch our 2 previous videos over here. We got an episode of Tech News. We got another episode over here for you, and we have Weekly Weird News coming up soon. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.